There is a growing concern over the state of the cryptocurrency industry after the collapse of FTX.
Yeah, that's right. The company is embroiled in scandal, and its founder is facing criminal charges. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was in a Bahamas court today, and he agreed to be extradited to the U.S. He'll be returning home soon. FTX's downfall has also triggered new calls for transparency across the marketplace.
Binance is one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. As a leader in the industry, it has had to answer questions, plenty of questions, about stability of crypto markets and has faced some criticism over its business model.
We are joined now by Patrick Hillman. He is Binance's Chief Strategy Officer. Patrick, thanks for coming here. You know, it is a time period where people are skeptical of crypto, and Binance itself is facing a lot of questions. Tell us what impact the FTX disaster is having on your company.
Yeah, listen, we've obviously seen a market pullback in crypto, for the most part, though, in line with the traditional markets. Obviously, a black swan event like FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, at least if the allegations are true, is going to have a deeper impact on our industry as opposed to others. You know, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks is twofold. Number one, the market is actually extraordinarily resilient. You know, again, we've seen a lot of volatility in the traditional markets as well. I mean, I think Amazon alone saw a $1 trillion in market value wiped away over the last year alone, which is more than the entire market cap of crypto combined. So there's been a lot of stability. There's also a lot more calls from users for platforms to be much more transparent with their reserves in custody. And we think that's actually a good thing. There should be more transparency for users, and there should be more regulations around that. And we expect that this upcoming year we'll start to see policymakers focus on that more, which is a positive step for the industry.
Patrick, if you can just sort of take us through a little bit of what you have seen at Binance, what kind of withdrawals have you seen? Would you call it an influx following the FTX, of course? But I'm also interested in what the company's doing to sort of address the user confidence issue.
Yeah. Well, we did see about, at its peak, $6 billion in withdrawals over a span of approximately 48 hours. That's actually not historically really that
huge,
though.
Really?
It's not nothing.
$6 billion in 2 days.
It may seem like quite a bit, but when you realize that Binance, when you look at our day-to-day volume, we're actually larger than the New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, and the Tokyo Stock Exchange combined. We do a lot of volume. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we're an exchange. We're not a bank. We make money off of transaction fees first and foremost. After that, our NFT platform, our fan token platform, and our VC, Binance Labs. But so even when there's lots of volatility in the market and users are actually pulling their funds out, we're still making transaction fees on those. And by the way, self-custody for users is not a bad thing for us. We actually agree with it. If users understand how to self-custody, they should do that. But right now, the vast majority of users in the crypto space are active traders. And if you want to go and trade crypto, you are going to want to do it on Binance because we have the largest liquidity pools globally, which means that you have a frictionless environment. So when you want to make a purchase, you know there's another buyer on the other end that will meet that purchase request at the same price point. And so we've seen this volatility a lot in the past. This actually wasn't a top 5 sort of outflow period for us. It just hit the number 6 mark.
Patrick, you were talking about your founder saying that they intend to lead by example there at Binance, talking about reserves, talking about the custody. Tell us, what do you have in reserves? Tell us where are things being held? If you're embracing transparency, go ahead and tell us some more.
Yeah, sure. So all of our assets are held one-to-one in that asset class, which means if someone buys a Bitcoin, we buy a Bitcoin. Someone buys a Dogecoin, we buy a Dogecoin. And we hold that token until the user decides to go and sell it. It's a very simple business model. And any platform that follows that business model can be really profitable and will never have to worry about any sort of market condition. Even if the price of Bitcoin went down to $1 or $1 million, users can pull all of their assets off our platform and they're always going to be whole. And Binance, again, will continue to make money off those transaction fees. When it comes to
So
how
there's no risk because people are seeing what happened with FTX and they're thinking it's smoke and mirrors. You're saying there is no risk at Binance that anybody who wants to pull, if everybody wanted to pull their money out right away, they'd be able to do so.
There is zero risk. And in fact, we've seen that. We went through this stress test, again, $6 billion over a 48 period. That's about 4 times what FTX had in withdrawals before they went insolvent. FTX was a black swan event. If the allegations are true, my personal opinion is they most likely are. If the allegations are true, it didn't matter if Sam Bankman-Fried was running a crypto exchange, a traditional exchange, or a Pokemon card exchange. Fraud is fraud. And I think a lot of people right now are looking at what is, very much potentially a Theranos condition, a Bernie Madoff situation, are trying to say, oh, could this be endemic across the industry? It's not. Just like Theranos isn't an indictment of the entire healthcare space. Bernie Madoff wasn't an indictment of the entire banking and finance space. This is not an indictment of the crypto space. Now, we do need more regulations, and we agree with that. The regulations need to really focus on what are those things that matter for users today. Number one, proof of reserves. We totally agree with it. And we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we can get out our proof of reserves as quickly as possible. Again, because of our size, you can't just do that in 2 weeks. It takes time. Number two, how do we address risk in our industry? We need to be much better about how we measure risk. And then probably most importantly, how do we communicate risk externally? These are things that we should be addressing as an industry.
We got a lot more questions, but unfortunately, we got to leave it here for now. Patrick Hillman, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me again.